Oh, I am streaming the wrong. I'm streaming the wrong window, but I can do my analysis here. I just gotta change the tickers. Good morning, everybody. Jack Leeson with StartupTrading.com. It's 10:30. Just changing up some tickers here in a moment. To the M25 or the June. Why June is labeled M, I do not know, and March is not. Or is it? Yeah, no, it's not. So yeah, the title of the video here is a simple long continuation question mark, and that is the question as we move in today. So I'm going to back out here on the NQ. I just went long the level I typed in the room, which was like basically 19,900, and this is an hourly chart of the Nasdaq of the June contract, and really the first time I believe that we've had an attempt to really move higher began on Friday. And if you guys remember, my Friday trade plan was shorts had broken and longs had held. So can we continue to hold them is the question, and where we're going to go from there. I want to go to a daily chart. We had, on this level, you could argue 1 day, 2, 3, 4, 5 days of kind of overlapping price action. Now, of course, this day began that move down, but after 5 days, usually we're not going to overlap more than 5 days. You can even see this overlap 5 days, and then a move out. This is the first day that begins overlap. You can even argue right now is overlap, but I think we're going to get a continuation higher. And if you remember, there was some traditional sequences on the way down here. The last one I was watching, I believe, was this. But I think we're gonna run up into the first resistance level I have above us is going to be the March 4th high to low, and that is going to line up with the current target of the long that I just got in, and that's going to be a 20,150. So that's where I see us moving up into if we can hold this simple long continuation, which is just a halfway back long from Sunday night low to high, and we've just traded it. We've traded that upper mid. You can see, when we were selling off, we're staying below that lower mid, right? The lower mid is this green line, below the lower mid, below the lower mid, below the lower mid. And then on Friday, we stayed above during the open, stayed above the mid, and then really stayed above the upper mid, which is an overall view, just kind of tells you, oh, finally the market might be moving higher, at least for that day. Now today I'm looking for a continuation of that. And what was interesting on Friday, this is almost the exact same setup we had on Friday, which was the open of the day to that morning high. Yeah, that same thing. I stayed away from the trade of the open because it's just been for the last literally 3 days, it's straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, and then up again. This was straight down, up, down. It's a very whippy trade. It's not like a trend continuation trade. But Friday, the low from the beginning of that open, the evening open to high, traded and then completed targets. And then overnight, you could argue we traded that next halfway back. It was a little sloppy. We came in, held the 61 during the European session, and then continued higher. And then so this morning, I just let that price action open. We actually completed up to this negative 61, and then as I got to the desk, I typed it in the room, and I had my Zoom loaded up, but basically just took this halfway back long. And if we can get, I'd like to see us get back above these overnight highs, and then of course, you're going to have this morning's highs. It's take us. And this trade could take all day. It's quite a big target, but once I'm in the trade, set a timer for 25 minutes and see if we can continue to hold that low. We spent you know, two different 15-minute candlesticks on that 50% last time before beginning our rally, and then really the high of the day for the beginning part of the day was at target. And I was looking for potential extension, maybe push higher. This got really boring in the middle of the day on on Friday, but so far we've come into this setup. This is what I've taken here, and I'm anticipating us to potentially get up to targets. Now, if we don't, I really am not going to be looking for much of a deeper pullback. I think there's going to be variations similar to on the downside. There's different variations of shorts. As long as we're above, I don't think, we could get to the mid today. If we start breaking down and holding below this setup, the only thing I'd want to see is if we do break down is to hold the traditional that's regular trading hours below. And that's right below. So I'd like to see us, if we do break down, get to 19,853 and then then immediately bounce. If we don't, I would expect us to kind of pull back into a deeper setup, and eventually, whether it's today or later this week, I think we have FOMC. We could get that full halfway back at some point, and that would be a potential support. But we have broken the short series for the time being, the one we were in at least, and I think we need to trade a higher short. And you can see this is going to line up with right where that dive started last week. We're going to go right back to basically that. It wasn't exactly the open, but that Monday morning high. So if we can continue to see buyers step in here, that's what I'm anticipating, a move up. I would be interested in a potential check lower if we can't continue from here, but I'm not really seeing a full breakdown at this point in time. Moving on to the S&P 500, it's trading more aggressive than the NQ is now. Now, if we go back, like I said, we've broken the. I need to load a different study set here to do day frame. There we go. All right, so we've broken the short series, and then off the open on Monday, we had that traditional 61 stick right to the midpoint, held above the midpoint all day long during the RTH session, which is a good signal. You can see there's very few days, if you go back and looked at during the regular trading hour session, did we ever hold above the midpoint? This is going to be that first day that happened, and then today we didn't even touch it, and we're holding above the upper mid, which is telling you that price action is changing. Now, what's interesting is we got this next traditional, just like the NASDAQ did overnight, and then this overnight low to high never traded like it has in the NQ. The NQ has got a bigger pullback. So what is possible is we actually begin a separate series and use this extension here from the Monday morning high at 9:45 to high. That is what I'm going to argue we just traded in the ES. We traded that 38. So the ES's sequence is going to be a little different here. Okay. So if we can hold that. Now, if we get that lower check in the NQ I was talking about, the ES's 50 would coincide for that. So if we do, consolidate, move lower, just check along, I would look at this 56.92s, and then if you load up the overnight low to high, it's going to be right around that. So between 56.93 to 56.90 is going to be that support zone I'm interested in the ES. But if we can continue higher here, those upside targets, and if we go back, to some higher time frames, what's the next level I'd look above us? Well, we had this traditional. This was like the last big one. Now, you could argue this completed, and then we had here, okay? This is what we're bumping up against right now, that if we clear, I would look for us, the next thing above us is going to be 57.75 is what I would look for. So 57.75 above us. I am a little under the weather here, but 57.75 above us. If we can clear that, would be the next level of major resistance. We'll see how much, how aggressive buyers are here this morning, or if we get that lower check, which I think, there's a decent chance of that happening if we do not, just continue to move off of these levels. So that's what I have in the morning trade plan. I'll share these levels with you guys in the room, and we'll see if we move according to my plan. So take care, and I'll talk to you guys in the Discord and jump on Discord.